I know Saturdays are everyone's got things to do, so really appreciate your presence. And our CEO was supposed to join, but unfortunately he became unwell. So he just texted me to apologize. Stuart is here, he's the MD of the company. So before we start, yeah. Sorry. Do you want to, are you comfortable like that?
Yeah, I'll be right.
Okay.
Should we whiz our chairs around?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it.
Thank you, Kathleen, thank you. Thank you.
So today from Whittingham House, Dr. Hannah couldn't make it, so Stuart is here. And Raj is our head of HR, and Kathleen, deputy manager, and myself, Suraj. I think some of you know me because I managed this home in the previous inspection up to May. I left last year. I think some of the faces are familiar, but some of the relatives I met after I rejoined in June. So I have worked here before, for those of you who don't know, and we made this home a good home in all 5 areas. The team worked really hard and we achieved that in 2021. Yeah, great. So the agenda for today is, so I hope everyone has signed in and we need to sign out. If there's a fire, the exits are, there's one near the entrance, and then through the kitchen there's another one, and then there's another exit down into the garden area. I'll give a short introduction about myself. We had an inspection in May. The report was published yesterday. We'll discuss that, and there are certain concerns that CQC has raised. Then I'll discuss the key issues, any positive comments that CQC has made about the home, and the progress so far from the report. I mean, we got the report some time back as a draft report. If there were any factual deficiencies, we were made to challenge. So now the final report has come out. And then I want to talk a little bit about the challenges the social care as a wider service face but for the country, the negative impact that has on the providers and managers, staff pay, recruitment and retention, managers' expectations from relatives, relatives' expectations from the manager and the home, and managers' vision, and finally Stuart will say a few words. And then we'll have if you have any questions, we can go through them. Right. I was born in Sri Lanka. This year I've been married 25 years to Suzanne and I've got 3 boys, Aaron, Josh and Zach. Josh and Zach are twins. I live in North London, Southgate, close to Junction 24 and 25. So I travel daily. I was a civil servant for 12 years in IT, communications, business intelligence and management. I later changed career into adult social care. As a research manager and quality manager. Later I became a registered manager. I was a registered manager at Whittingham House from September 2020 to May 2022. That's about me. So I'm quite passionate about care, and it all started when this is my mother. My mother was in a care home, and this really shocked me. One day, the home gave my mom, she had dementia, very hot shepherd's pie, and that caused the injuries. To my surprise, the regional manager wrote to me, "Dear Suraj, apologies for the delay in responding. On reviewing the documentation, I can confirm that on discussion with the health and safety manager, this incident was not required to be reported to CQC, SOV, or health and safety executive." I didn't know where to go when I got that letter. So my family insisted that please don't say anything to the home because they might give notice to the mom. So different local authorities work differently. So when we work with Southend Borough Council, even if a resident sat on the floor and we didn't know how he sat on the floor, we had to raise a safeguarding. So different local authorities work differently. So this is when I got really passionate. So I wanted to, that's when I had become I was a registered manager before that. It quite shocked me the way how some organizations, this is supposed to be a good home, content care. That's by the by, so that's the experience I want to share with you. So there's CQC inspection report. CQC carried out an unannounced focus inspection in May 2023. The domains well-led, safe, and effective was inspected. So well-led, safe, and effective. They excluded caring and responsive because it was a focus inspection to check these 3 domains. The report was published yesterday. On summary, well-led and safe was marked inadequate, and effective requires improvement. Overall, the home has moved to inadequate, which is very disappointing to note all the good things we did. The previous rating was good in all 5 domains. CQC report is now the CQC website, you can read that. However, I will go through some of the, in brief, what the issues are that they identified. So it's called enforcement and recommendation. So we have been, when you say enforcement, so CQC, local authority, and all the other stakeholders, including the GP, will be closely monitoring the home on a weekly basis. They have weekly meetings. They want to see the progress of the home, how you are progressing forward. So from the inspection, they found breaches in relation to risk, safeguarding, consent, meeting nutritional needs, governance. Governance is more of the management side and that inspection. So this is from CQC website. We will request an action plan from the provider to understand what they will do to improve the standards of quality and safety. We will work alongside the provider and the local authority to monitor progress. That's what I mean. I want to do the progress weekly, and I have weekly meetings with CQC and local authority, and also with their monthly meetings too. We will continue to monitor information we receive about the service, which will help inform when we next inspect. So within the next 6 months, CQC will be re-inspecting the home. So these are the issues they found in relation to risk. They found sluice rooms and cleaning cupboards open. They should be kept locked because there's dangerous chemicals in there, and that was that they have identified that as a risk. Poor moving and handling practices. So the CQC inspector observed a person's right foot was not on the footplate of a wheelchair when the person was moved to the different location. So that was CQC insisted us on raising a safeguarding for that. Interest in wound care and documentation. Now this is, you know, our wounds are not dressed or cared for by the home. It's cared for by the district nurses because it's not a nursing home. So they found, I mean, this is a responsibility we are working on with the district nurses to see how we can improve the documentation. So what essentially happens is the district nurses come in, they have the code to get into the home, they will go to the resident, they have to dress, they will dress, and they, without writing anything, they would leave the building. But we have a documenting system now. However, the district nurses document themselves in System 1, the NHS system. So we are trying to get access to those records so that we can manage, in the sense we can manage the wounds, although we are not giving direct interventions to the wounds, but we ought to know where they are and whether they are healing, whether they need extra attention. One of the issues is that when a wound is covered, we don't know how the state of it is. And then only the district nurses, when they redress, that's when so we are trying to get our senior carers or Kathleen to witness what's happening, and we take photographs as well, because when a wound gets deteriorated, we are answerable for it. It's not the district nurses. So we need to have oversight of what's going on. So that's something that CQC couldn't really see a good timeline for wounds. Lack of information on behavioral charts. I don't know whether you're aware, if there's any behavioral issue with the resident, we are supposed to complete ABC, it's a behavioral chart. So we have to document what triggered that behavior and how we managed it, so what the idea is to collect those ABC charts and see how best we can manage that resident. So they found deficiencies in ABC chart documentation. They also found gaps in fluid intake monitoring. So we have a computer system that we log every time someone has a drink, how much was given, how much was consumed. So sometimes these records were not kept consistent. There have been gaps. So that's to do with fluids. Medication room key safety. So our medication room has a lock. The key was kept in a drawer where the seniors are sitting. They thought that was dangerous because anyone could get access to it. So that's really the key, but we have rectified that issue now. We have put a combination lock, so there won't be a key anymore. Personal items stored in the medication safe. So we have a medication safe for controlled drugs. Member of staff left her purse and some personal item, so CQC picked up on that. Inconsistent PRN medication recording. So this we have rectified this. We had a full training from a consultant from the NHS. The PRN medication recording, they found certain gaps. It's not the medication was not given the way it was recorded on the MAR chart. Management of safeguarding. So CQC found, they looked at the incidents that has taken place up until they visited, and they found some incidents should have been reported as a safeguarding. So in the report it says that I raised them retrospectively. So after the inspection, I looked at the incidents and I raised, and there's a few more to raise because there have been quite a number of incidents. So consent, DOLS conditions not met, MCA bed rails not in place. So DOLS, I don't know whether you're familiar with DOLS, deprivation of liberty safeguards. So if we are restricting any resident in any way, there has to be the mental capacity should be checked, and even for bed rails, if you're on a wheelchair, if you're putting a lap belt, if any restriction that you put for a resident, there has to be a MCA to back, and they couldn't find for some bed rail, the residents using bed rails, MCAs. Residents ask you to leave the home. So there are a number of residents, sometimes time and time, they will ask to leave the home. And CQC found that they were not recorded because they were on the DOLS conditions, that every time somebody asked to leave, they were supposed to record it. That was missed out. Restrictions applied without MCA. So this is pretty, these two are pretty similar, and without a best interest decision. In summary, principles of MCA were not met. So it's all about consent. So on a side note, do care homes ask private funders if they consent to cross-subsidization? The answer is no. Is that MCA? The answer is no. I wonder why. Does that make sense?
No.
Right. So private fee payers subsidize the local authority residents. But I don't see anyone asking for consent. It's just like one of those things that happens. If all the private residents decide to leave this home, we'll have to close it. Is it true? Sure?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Sorry?
Can you just repeat what you just said? If the
Okay, if all the private residents who are in this home
Yes.
decide to leave,
Yeah.
we cannot manage this home with local authority fees
Yeah. That's right.
because they pay below the cost.
Yes. Right.
So my question is, where is the consent from the private fee payers that they are happy to pay for somebody else's needs? So there is this is a research organization. Honestly, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. You can look it up. Sorry?
Lang and Beeson.
So they noted in one of their research reports, the stability of UK care home sector for older people currently depends on the willingness of self-funders to pay premium prices. It's also noted as cross-subsidization. So meeting nutritional needs, CQC observed a member of staff assisting 2 residents at the same time. They found it not very dignified. So you will see all of this in the report. A member of staff observed to stand over a person where they were assisting instead of sitting at the same height as the person being supported. No eye contact. One person was trying to stand up during a meal. A member of staff continuously asked them to sit down. In 3 people's care plans, it had been identified they had required support with their nutritional intake. Over a period of 9 days, there were numerous occasions when staff had not recorded their food intake. So there were gaps. So we record, especially for residents who are unable to help themselves or they need assistance, we record to keep a track of the food and fluid intake. If the food or fluid intake drops, if they're refusing, then we will get in touch with the GP, the dietitian, and to see what interventions we can make rather than leaving the resident to just lose weight and get dehydrated. So sometimes we would even call you to inform you that your loved one is not quite well and not eating. Maybe you could come and encourage. So that's so on the electronic system there had been gaps in some of the residents who nutrition records should be kept. Governance. There was not a registered manager in post. So the previous manager, Joe, has applied for the registration, but the registration hasn't come through yet. So when CQC inspect homes, if a registered manager is not in place, they would always, they would never give good for that domain. It would be always a price improvement. And they mentioned that Joe left following the inspection. There were no analysis of ABC charts to identify and improve the record staff making. So I think I touched up on that. So the idea of ABC charts is to recognize patterns, trends, and lessons learned when residents' behavioral issues take place. So there were positive comments. Most people and relatives told us they felt safe. One person told us they always come and check, I'm okay. Relatives told us they felt their family member was safe at the home. They said the family member walks with the walker and had a couple of falls. The relative had no concerns how the home dealt with it. And the home contacted them straight away. People spoke to, there was enough staff. There's usually staff around the home if you need something. Staff come when I call. So these are some of the positive things. I mean, the entire report is not negative. So I just thought I would mention some of the positive things. The relatives were positive about the care staff supporting their family members. One told us that the staff are very good, and they work hard, they always smile, be great to me like a friend. And others said the staff seem to be quite caring. There's good food, and the staff are good. So this is a negative comment that made, which I don't agree with. One member of staff claimed the staff disappear when the provider visits. That is the CEO. and the atmosphere of the home changes. Some feel the provider is not approachable. Now, this statement came from one member of staff. I think it's a bit unfair to put that on a report because it was an opinion. CEO visits the home at least once a week, and all the other homes in the group. He's very involved. He's a qualified nurse, so this statement might read that in the CQC report. I just thought I'll mention how I feel about this statement. I think it's not true. So what have we done so far? So CQC requested us for an action plan. So we have put together an action plan, and we just gone to CQC. And I'll give you a brief preview of it. I think I'll have to show you that in a minute because it's on a memory stick. So we have done a sorry. So this is something we developed to manage incidents and accidents. So on a monthly basis, we look at all the, I'm not going to click on anywhere that says resident because the names are there. So we would look at what the incident and what time it happened, the total, and so whether it's AM, night or PM. And these are by location, bedroom, corridor, dining room, hallway, lounge. So we try to see where, what time, what the patterns are to minimize falls and accidents. So these systems are not in place before. So for instance, we can tell you which days have most incidents. And this is broken it by AM, PM, and night. We've done a dependency tool, so to capture the residents' needs. So I have taken the residents' names out. As you can see, if there's a name there, it tells you whether they got dementia, whether they need 2 care staff, whether they need a hoist, if they are diabetic, whether they got a DNR. So every resident's needs are mapped, and then we have marked who are high needs, who are in low needs, so that the deployment of staff can be done accordingly, and also to perhaps relocate some residents if a particular unit has a lot of residents that needs 2 carers support. I think it might be best to put that workload, spread the workload around the home rather than put them into one unit. So that's a plan that we're going to, of course, with the consultation of the family, because some residents would not like their room to be changed because they got used to it. monitoring of nutritional needs. So we are monitoring weights. So we would weigh, so we started in June. I mean, they were doing it, wasn't consistent. So the weight will be, every month residents will be weighed and then see if there's a weight loss. If there is a weight loss, it will automatically trigger anything over 2 kilograms. And then we will have a weight loss action plan. We would list what actions we're going to take to address those issues. So these are all the issues that came up with from the CPC report, so we are actively addressing that. We are spending a lot of time on training. We had a trainer here for the whole week. Is our group trainer. She's a full-time trainer, so we are getting all the staff trained face-to-face as much as possible, rather than online courses. We have booked for more training with external providers for moving and handling, and COSH just finished. So COSH training is to do with chemicals, so they raised the issue about the chemical safety. So we got our chemical supplier to do a session with staff who actively use chemicals to ensure that they know the hazardous, how to handle hazardous material. Sorry, the internet is a bit slow. So I'm going to play a short video. I think it's quite interesting to listen to. This is the Channel 4 video. Is the internet working?
Should be.
As the cost of living rises, there are a few places more costly to live than in here. Providing quality care requires a quantity of cash much larger than living in your own home. And everywhere you look at Normanby House in Scarborough, the cost of caring is going up. This company crunched their accounts for us across their 4 homes. Pre- and post-COVID costs are incomparable, not least of all the soaring price of energy. In 2019, they paid £157,000 to fuel their homes. Even before October's rise, this year it'll be £418,000, a 165% increase.
It's not like when we're at home, we can turn our heating down a degree or 2 just to save that bit of money. Here we can't do that because obviously the change in temperature will be felt really severely by the residents. If we have a light off, then it's a trip hazard. They could fall and have an accident.
I bet these washers and dryers are never off, are they?
Oh, they're on constantly, yeah, you know, because again, you can't sort of limit the number of times you put a wash on.
Nor the number of calories consumed here. In the kitchen, the fridges are full of ever pricier food. In 2019, it cost the company £161,000 to feed the residents. Now it's £211,000, a rise of 31%.
To use an example, is like butter started off at like £40 a case, and now it's got up to something like 72. It's hard because you want to give the best to the residents it upsets you when you do something and you think, oh, am I doing the right thing for them? Am I giving them the best I can?
Staff here don't just worry about caring for others, but for themselves. Phil's waiting for a kidney transplant.
Hey, it's all in, you all right?
His employer has tried to increase salaries. In 2019, they spent £3 million on staff in total. Now it's 4.7 million, a rise of 60%. But each carer's pay is still falling behind prices.
Although it's a very rewarding and fulfilling job, the financial aspects of it are quite tough. And it is quite scary.
Have you thought about having to leave the industry if it comes to it?
Possibly, yeah, I would think long and hard about having to leave it and going back to working at a supermarket. It's not something I want to give up, because when you look after people 24/7, you get attached.
But staff are increasingly having to break that attachment, leaving the management reliant on agency carers. In 2019, they spent £62,000 on them. This year, it'll be £314,000, a rise of 406%.
I've been in the sector now just over 33 years, and actually it's the toughest I've known. But the problem is, when there's a crisis, we in social care have been saying for a long time there is a problem, but no one listens. Now we're in a real difficult area. The government's got so many challenges on its hands. I fear it falls on deaf ears still until it's too late.
Hello.
And the cost of care isn't just going up for homes, but for those who live in them. 96-year-old Les and granddaughter Lauren must find up to 15% more in fees. Selling his house won't be enough for long.
He's paying £975 a week. I've been reassured that he won't be thrown out on the streets, but where's the money going to come from?
Are you worried about all these costs going up, Les?
I don't. Reason not, because I don't know. Seems a hell of a lot of money.
Seems a hell of a lot of money.
What's sort of that mean to you?
He's my absolute world. He brought him and my grandma, as I said, they brought me up. They gave up everything for us. And I do live with the guilt because I couldn't keep him at home, in his own home.
Les would face rising prices there too, but tonight, on top of looking after their residents more than ever, homes are having to care about costs as well.
Right. The purpose of showing that is not to increase the fees.
Are you sure?
Yeah. So, this is an example of Southend Borough Council's this is last year's fees were 526, which bounced up to £3.13 an hour. But in the United Kingdom, we spend £44,000 a year for a prisoner. So there is definitely something wrong. So this is what that document said. There's a problem is there in front of our eyes, but nobody's addressing it. But I mean, they knew this problem was coming 10 years ago. There had been so many white papers, green papers, etc., but nothing has materialized to benefit the residents and the homes.
While you're on that particular point, sir, there's mentioned on the television only a couple of nights ago, ageing population for the future. Something's going to have to happen.
So they did a care home market study. This is on the .gov website. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. I think I'll email the whole report you can see. It's basically what they're saying is that if I read the last paragraph, on our analysis suggests that about a quarter of the care homes, more than 75% of their residents are local authority funded. And that they are the ones that most at risk of failure exit because of funding shortfall. We estimate local authority fees are currently on average as much as 10% below the cost of these homes, equal to around 200-300 million shortfall of funding across the UK. This finding is based on an average result. There will be already be a proportion of operators that are struggling and at risk of closure. So the Audit Office did a report too, and this is what they have to say. Government, regardless of political party, have been promising care reform for the past 20 years. There have been repeated delays in reforms despite numerous government white papers, green papers, consultations, independent reviews and commissions over the years. So, I'll try and find that slide. If you look at the fee rates of the whole country, from the bottom, Southern Borough stays at 19. I have a table I'll show that to you because it's not connected to the main drive. So these are the negative repercussions from the stress by the care home owners. There have been a number of incidents where care home owners have struggled and some even taken their life. This couple, they couldn't face a bad CQC report, and they couldn't face the staff. They decided to take their own life. So NHS crisis is fueled by closure of 1,000 care homes, housing more than 3,000 pensioners. So that's another incident. That's another incident. So here's another alarming, it does NHS, well, we work with NHS. So there have been, between 2011 and 2017, 307 nurses took their own life due to stress. And the highest rate of suicide is among care workers and home care workers, and next is the primary school teachers. These are from the government. They're not sort of conspiracies or anything, but seldom people hear about it. So these are the challenges that me and Kathleen face. Other than spending time on the floor, there's so much paperwork that we have to complete, email, scan, and everyone wants information immediately. So I just wrote some of the things. So we both would like to spend more time on the floor, working with the rest of the staff, but unfortunately, managers these days are glued to laptops and computers. So the cost of care. If somebody says, oh, why don't you put one carer extra for night and day? So our cost of a carer is about £3, £13.50. I'm guessing I didn't get the right figure, but it will be a little bit more. This includes employers' contribution of national insurance and pension. So training costs, recruitment costs, head office administration costs, they are not taken into. So just to have one carer 24 hours, £13 times 24, that's for a day. So for a year is 118,260. So it's very easy for local authority or city to say we don't have enough staff. It's very, very costly. So and on top of that, if you're short of staff, that means we have to pay sometimes 50% more to get agency staff. So, these are all our residents, okay? I have taken out the private residents because it won't be fair to show those rates. So we have this number of low needs residents. So they're dependents, you can see they're under 10. And then you have medium, and then you have high, and then you have very high. However, as you can see, the fees are the same. So care homes are expected to operate like a eat as much as you like buffet. You know, when you go pay $9.99, you can eat as much as you like. So that's the expectation from the care home by the local authority. They will not pay anything extra someone with high needs. So it's very unfair. So these are the things that I would like your support to discuss with the local authority. I'll come back to that later. I would like to set up a relatives committee. Yes, sorry.
Sorry,
bit higher than the local authority, but that's a fixed, still it's a fixed rate. So when when continuing healthcare gets approved, fees are paid by the NHS, whereas the other option is for the local authority. So I have a suggestion. Local authority could use the parking fines revenue to adult care and child care. But none of us know where the money goes, and they're making revenue of millions of pounds a year. So staff, overseas staff, pay, recruitment, retention. So I can only compare care home staff to a leaky bucket. You spend money, you invest in the staff, they would leave. They would not necessarily leave to work in another care home because they're getting reasonably paid more, because they have plans in their life. They don't want to be a carer for the rest of their life. They'll be studying, and then someone left to become Uber driver, I knew, because they want to, care homes is like a springboard for you to jump off to the next level. But then you have some carers who have worked here for a very long time. This is why it's very difficult to retain staff. Now, overseas staff, are you aware that there's a licensing system in the country where you could employ foreign staff who are living abroad, interview them and do the process, and Raj has done that for our company. Raj flew to, where did you fly to, Raj?
Nepal.
And interviewed and brought them. Believe it or not, each application, the company has to pay £5,000 to the Home Office. And another 5,000, the total cost of training, the whole lot is about 10k. And we have to find them accommodation, they're coming from a different country. So instead of increasing the care fees, government decided to get these, open up this initiative to cover the gap. So if the carers' pay went up, perhaps people living in this country would consider. Being a full-time carer, you will never be able to afford to get a mortgage or even rent unless your partner works, because the amount of money that you earn in doing 36 hours is not adequate. Hence, some staff would request to do 4 or 5 shifts to revenue. So now the problem that we are, even from the CQC report, they keep mentioning foreign staff. I have said a few times. So it's very difficult. We could train the technical things. We can train, but we cannot train someone who just come to this country to learn all the British mannerism and banter and everything. So it will take time. But the expectation is, so that's why they said, CQC, that someone was talking to someone over them instead of speaking like that. So these are little, might seem little, but when it comes to CQC, they picked up on those. Sometimes it's disappointing because we try our best. Training is ongoing, and the foreign staff who has come here, they are learning, they are away from home, so and they're not just learning, they're working and learning. So it will take time for them to their standard of engagement with residents to improve. So I used to do when a resident leaves, I used to talk to them and find out how they felt about the home. So I would like to play a short video of someone. In fact, he was a film director, and he wanted to do a documentary.
I get a lot from the school. That country today, I told you. That's their job. That's their job. Whose job? That's their job. school.
I think I'll have to be audio only because I don't know for some reason it's.
They get a lot of public school.
He's talking about the NHS.
Country to them, don't we? That's their job. That's their job. Whose job? If you, that's their job. If I choose to dig a road, I don't expect someone in the trap on the way past. I've chosen to do that job. Yeah. Right? Don't see any people cutting for these out here. Care workers. Eventually, everyone is going to end up in this situation. If they're lucky enough to have a family sport, but a lot of different nationalities, they keep it in the family, different cultures. But it's not all my mother. Everyone's working. They can't look after her. So what do? Put her out in the next field. You know, and let someone else care for her. But for that person to care for her, they've got to feed her, and well, let's keep that basically. You know, you want someone else's arse at the end of the day. And that is not a pretty thing to do. You asked me to do that, friends of us.
So why do you think that the public...
Right, then okay, then get it back to this is right. So why do you care what to do help? Why? Well, don't get paid enough? Right, okay, just go on to that. They don't get paid enough. Why do you get paid less than the NHS? They're doing more work. Why? I mean, surely, see, I don't know, so you've got to excuse my ignorance on this. But isn't care homes government-based? Surely it's across the board.
Care homes are funded by the local authorities, not from the central.
Right, that's government-based.
Because the central government must be sponsoring some.
Yeah.
So it's basically some of the funding comes from council tax. And partially, I think, from the government.
Right.
But either way, it's quite capped. You cannot compare the amount of money that gets put into the NHS and to the national health social care.
Right.
Hence, the care workers are probably less paid compared to NHS workers.
Well, that's from local authorities, yeah.
But as you can see, they're doing a much harder job.
Oh, well, no, that's what I'm saying. So this is why I'm quite offensive that the local vicar was giving them food. Well, because they can't afford their own food.
Oh, no, they shouldn't do it. He wasn't sort of...
Can I just pause you there for a second? So, you know, there's a food bank next door in the church. So they, the vicar came and saw the staff work very hard, so we get crates of food every week, sometimes twice a week. So he's, this resident is asking me, why is that happening? Can they not afford to buy food? So I said, no, that's not the case. They just want to say thank you and give something to share. It's not that they feel that they're desperate for food.
Assist them, getting what they can afford. It's just to say thank you and you will share what they do.
So thank you. No, I understand that. Yeah, it's a token act. Yeah, I understand that. But there's more for me to look at because there's more to them that. If they're not getting paid enough, why don't we have a smile on their face? You know, obviously they can't carry a smile all the time, but they smile when they're dealing with them. And they do the job. They do their job. They get paid a good day's money for a good day's work. And they get a good day's money, they say, well, you don't want to be in that job. If someone else is offering me a bit more, I know where I'm going. I'll be going to the NHS. Is that why you're constantly got that woman, what do you call it, an interview with that woman? might have tried it becoming a big trade out. Yeah, that's a better idea, yeah.
Okay, what he's trying to say is, why don't you charge these carers to get trained here, then they're going to leave to NHS. So which happened last year. Last year, NHS had a carers campaign, paying quite a lot of money compared to the care homes, and we lost about 30% of staff. Some of the best staff we had. So we had to start all over again. So, so I'd like to tell you a little funny story. My friend visited me yesterday. He was on holiday, and he's a provider himself. He said he had a complaint from a relative. One of the Indian workers, when he was asked to do something, he went like this. So when it was questioned, it turned out that that's how he says yes. So some do this, some do that. So the relative got offended, thought that he's refusing his instruction. So yeah, these things will happen because people are new to the country. Yeah, so CQC and local authority expects providers to fulfill their fully trained staff and to teach foreign staff British culture and mannerism. And they, in the CQC report, they have mentioned that we are task-oriented, meaning you don't talk to the resident much, you just go and attend to the resident whatever it needs to be, instead of having a conversation before. Yeah, so that's been picked up. Why do you think we need overseas staff? Anybody? Sorry? There is staff here. They don't want to work in UK.
And those that do go on the agency, this happens with the nurses as well. It costs a fortune.
If you think the average people pay £15 an hour for a cleaner in their home and staff are, that's
So-
hourly rate is nowhere near.
In my opinion, what's happening is it's not whether you are your colour or your religion or whatever. If you are living in this country, if you have a home with a partner and a child, the cost of living is higher than someone coming from India sharing a double room with another person. So whereas the outgoings is maybe £100 a week for the rent, or less, or a little bit more, and then the food cost, restaurant, they don't drive a vehicle. So they're the only people who could work for that money that they earn from a care home. If you're born and bred here, unless your partner works, that joint income from care, you can. But if you are on your, you cannot manage and maintain a family being a full-time carer. It's impossible. So this is why the foreign labour has been brought here. But there's a very dark side to that too, that people are not aware of. There are unscrupulous agents charging £15,000 up to, or even more, from foreign workers who would like to get a license. So what they do is they interview the people and they will try to sell them to a provider. In between they make that money. So we have not done that. We have not charged any of the foreign staff we have brought over. We have paid for their application fee, but we have politely asked them to stay with us for at least 3 years, because otherwise we have spent £10,000, they could leave after 1 year. However, there is no hard and fast rule that we can restrict them from leaving. So it's one of the risks we have taken. But to be fair, a lot of the staff who have come has settled in quite well. We have quite a number of staff in Leicester, right? Leicester Homes. I think we touched upon that. So these are my expectations from everybody. Please visit your loved one and provide us feedback to improve. So when you visit, if you see something that needs improving, if you see something even good, tell the staff, tell me. You don't need an appointment to see me. My door is open. If there's nobody in there, just come in and talk to me. And also that helps residents' well-being, because they like to see their loved ones. When they come to a care home, they are in a surrounding that they're not used to. So the more visits that you can pay, it will be beneficial for them. Attend relatives meetings to discuss and improve the home. So thank you very much for coming. I think this is the largest turnout we had from a very long time. We have had meetings before, maybe 3, 4, 5 relatives come. So that's one of the reasons why I want to have it on a Saturday. Those who work can attend. I want to form a relatives committee. Someone can chair. I will be part of it, and Dr. Canada certainly will be, so that we can discuss issues that on a monthly basis and try to find solutions. And if there are any issues that we are facing with the local authority, so I feel that nobody supports homes. We have no one to go to if there's a problem with the local authority. So support the home. We need a voice to support us. So you could perhaps write to your local MP if you see something that is not forthcoming from the local authority. It's very difficult for us to challenge the people we have a contract with, and some operators are working in fear of losing their contract. The local authority can any time pull the contract for whatever the reason, a reasonable reason, so which means your business will be affected. Local authority currently, I checked with the finance team, local authority owes us £79,000. Then they won't pay. They will pay. They'll pay when they want to pay. Or we can chase them up all we like. It's not like a parking ticket when you get clamped and your car taken away. That's how they operate if you do something against their instructions, but this is what happens to us. So because we are a large organization, we can sustain. But if we were just a single care home, we would be bankrupt. Yes?
It's quite interesting because my mum, before she came into this care home, we were paying for care at home through the local council. And I always get invoices. Now mum had finished her care sort of January time. We should probably still be getting one more invoice from Southend Borough Council, and it hasn't come through yet. We're now in July. So I know they obviously have a real delay in sending out invoices to families to pay. So I'm guessing if they're slow at sending out invoices to get their money in, that might be why you're not getting paid, because they haven't got their money. It's just, I can only talk from our experience. I'm still waiting, thinking when's that invoice going to come in, and I still haven't got it yet.
I'm sure you
So
can get it.
there's a few months down.
I got some feedback forms I would like you all to please complete. Who would like to be part of this relatives committee? I'm not expecting you to come here once a week or anything. I mean, once a month, if we can meet, it'll be fantastic. Anybody else? Okay. Can you please put on the feedback that you're interested in? If anybody else like to, it's not like a full-time role. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So my vision is promote honesty, transparency, and openness in the home. And improve quality of care. Provide effective medical interventions, GP, district nurses, mental health, all the other stakeholders we work with. Improve food and catering quality, have meaningful activities, and relatives involvement. is very important. So activities, we are struggling to recruit an activities coordinator. I've just managed to speak to someone. So if you know anybody who can sing, who's got a bubbly personality, who likes to work as an activities coordinator, even part-time doesn't matter. I'd rather have 3 part-time instead. If you have any questions, you can, I'll take some questions, and after Stuart, you can speak from that. Anybody got any questions?
I've just got one question.
Yeah.
You know, you said about employing, I know it might sound silly, when you need to employ agency staff, you pay 50% over the
Sometimes.
amount. Yeah, sometimes. Well, whatever it is, it's over what you would pay a normal staff. How often do you have to get agency staff in?
At least a couple of days a week. At least. But there used to be more. But now, we have a we have a system where we pay, if anybody does overtime,
yeah,
permanent staff, they get higher rate.
Oh, good.
So to entice them to do, because it's only fair, because they're working extra, we pay them extra at a different rate.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, somebody else wanted.
Yeah, just looking at the meaning of activities there. I know Kathleen said before that you guys did hire somebody to come in and like do some activities with residents, but I think we after like a couple of days. Is there a plan to get somebody else?
Yeah, I've spoken to someone yesterday. She's very keen. She hasn't worked, she has done similar things. So yeah, one in the pipeline. But I need to get someone who can sing. I need a singer. So at least, I mean, singing, music is something residents love. So if you can have someone full-time doing that, at least in the afternoons, it will be really good.
I mean, I've only talked about how that's like he quite enjoys doing it, and I think the staff all work really hard for him. But his main thing is he's just bored. He's just all day. He gets pulled out into the garden and has a smoke. He gets left there and he's bored. So if he has someone who's just like a hangman on a big whiteboard or something like this, I think that would make quite a big difference. Something simple as that.
Definitely. So, if you know anybody who's interested of working in activities, yes, please ask anybody who wants even part-time is fine. Stuart, do you want to say something?
Hi everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Stuart. I'm the Managing Director of Strathmore Care. Thank you, Suran. I think what Suran has said is perfectly encompasses what I want to reassure you that your loved ones, care and health and safety is the #1 priority. I think everything that the CQC has highlighted in the report, a lot of it are failings that we are working actively to fix. Some have already been done on the action plan. So we're working weekly, and improvements are being made weekly, and I'm working closely with Suran and the office to support him with whatever him and his team need. I think he's highlighted exactly the overall pressures that the home and the wider sector face. Irrespective of that, we just battle on, and we have a group of 15 homes, so we are able to an extent absorb the pressures of the sector. So please be reassured, this home is stable, but we are under constant pressure, especially around staff recruitment and training. But irrespective of all the pressures, delivering good care is our #1 priority. Over the years, it's steadily increased, and it's been a bit of a disappointment regarding the last inspection. But with Suran's guidance here and leadership, we're very happy to have him back. Hopefully for a long time now. I'm sure that we will turn this home around really quickly, and in the eyes of the CQC, at least be seen to be back to good, because they are due to inspect in 6 months. But please be reassured that we're doing everything we can to improve the efficiencies that we've had. So, yeah. If you have any questions directly for me, I'll be around. But yeah, no, thank you for coming.
So just before you go, this is the spreadsheet I was looking for earlier. So this is a table of fees throughout the country. The lowest being 444 a week. That's Bolton. And then South End is 19. But then when you go to the other end of the scale, there are some councils paying 997 a week. Slap. But a loaf of bread and a dozen eggs is the same price everywhere. And the staffing cost, everything is the same. So this disparity is causing a lot of, it's impacting the residents. Because it always gets tied to the staffing. So staffing levels are, we have an electronic system for determining how much staff we need. It's called dependencies. We input every resident's needs into it, and the system calculates and say you need to deploy X amount of staff, or X amount of hours. So we are not picking figures off the air to deploy. It's done mathematically and based on the needs. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, some of these areas that you're mentioning here, they've got severe financial problems. Yes. So they couldn't care less basically what they're paying out, because at the end of the day it would be a government that would dig it out.
Yeah.
And the biggest trouble we've got, knowing inflation is becoming embedded in this country, 2 years, be it a home, be it a hospital, be it anything, is going to be critical, in my opinion, because there's no doubt about it. Unless productivity goes up in this country, and we get on top of inflation, there is serious problems. And the government got to, sooner or later, tackle social services, hospitals, home, put it into one tranche, because when they look at the figures, they must go right over that. And it's not going to be resolved. And I can see it being the end of the National Health Service.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Please help yourself to some food. Kathleen, you have the plates are there?
Yeah.
It's not from the food bank, is it?